Do you want anything from the shop?
Cornetto.
10 years ago, 4 friends embarked on an infinite quest to make 3 of the greatest genre films ever made. Little did they know that one day these films would be considered a trilogy of awesomeness, and that one day these films would be known as the 3 Flavors Cornetto Blood and Ice Cream Trilogy. Greetings fanboys and fangirls, I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster. So what is the Cornetto Trilogy? There are 3 films that are subtly connected through themes, actors, and running gags. All 3 films were written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. They were produced by Nira Park, directed by Edgar Wright, and they star Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Now, why is this called the 3 Flavors Cornetto Trilogy? Well, it all came from a joke. While promoting the first 2 films, Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost would tour the US doing panels. During one of these panels, a fan asked if the binding theme in the films was the fact that the characters were always eating Cornetto ice cream, and if the fact that each film featured a different flavor of Cornetto was a reference or parody of Krzysztof Kieslowski's 3 Colors trilogy. While the reference to the Colors trilogy is completely unintentional, the 3 Flavors title stuck, and the 3 films have been referenced as thus ever since. Alright, fanboys, fangirls, zombies, hoodies, and blanks. It's time to punch that shit. Take that fateful shortcut through the gardens and get this antique on the roadshow as we unwrap our first Cornetto, and it's going to be red for horror, gore, and zombies. Our first flavor is Shaun of the Dead. In the first installment of the trilogy, Simon Pegg plays Sean Riley, an average working stiff who seems to be stuck in second gear, and just can't seem to move on with his life. He is stuck at the same dead-end job, he has unresolved issues with his parents, and he can't seem to take his relationship with his girlfriend Liz to the next level, cause he keeps letting unimportant shit get in the way, namely his slacker best friend Ed, played by Nick Frost.
Just be nice if we could.
Fuck.
Spend a bit more time together.
Bollocks.
Just the 2 of us.
Cock it.
Oh, and there's a zombie attack. Fuck yeah. For most of my life, I have maintained that Night of the Living Dead is the greatest zombie film ever made. This is the first zombie film I have ever seen that gives Night of the Living Dead a run for its money. Very much like in the Romero movies, the zombies are not the focus. Hell, the cause of the zombie epidemic is never even explained in any of these movies.
And as we now know, the phenomenon resulted from the use of highly
Not something Arabic.
The real conflict is among the living characters. In this case, Sean is desperately trying to get his life sorted and hopefully get back together with Liz. And he uses the zombie epidemic as an opportunity to show Liz that he is capable and responsible. Best romantic comedy I have ever seen. Thus, our lovable average Joe steps in as the hero.
I'm afraid Ash is feeling a little bit under the weather, so I will be taking charge.
What a shame. A lot of people like to point at all 3 of these films and say that they are parodies or spoofs. To that, I say nay. Robin Hood Men in Tights, Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein, those are parodies. These films are comedies that take place in these very specific genres. None of these films replicate characters, scenes, or plot points from other movies. They just occasionally reference them.
We're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
And while these films may have their silly moments, they take their genres seriously. Because in Shaun of the Dead, the zombies act like zombies, and the gore is hardcore. One of Wright and Pegg's reoccurring techniques in their stories is that of foreshadowing the events that are going to take place in the last 2 acts of the movie. In other words, they blatantly tell you what's going to happen in the film ahead of time, and you still won't see it coming.
You know what we should do tomorrow? Keep drinking. We'll have a Bloody Mary first thing, have a bite of the King's Head, couple of the Little Princess, we'll stagger back in, back at the bar for shots.
I shot.
The one and only scene that I don't like in this film, and in the whole trilogy for that matter, is the one in which Ed and Sean hear on the news how to kill the zombies.
Attackers can be stopped by removing the head or destroying the brain.
And then try to kill the zombies by throwing records at them. What? How does this translate to this? Luckily, they wise up quickly and they get real weapons. This wasteful bit of celluloid and vinyl has never made any sense to me. The movie does have a great series of cameos by Jessica Hines though. For those of you who don't know, Jessica was Simon Pegg's co-star in Edgar Wright's sitcom Spaced, which I highly recommend. In Shaun of the Dead, they allude to being former roommates like they were in Spaced. Only here, Jessica moved on with her life, all the while Shaun is pretty much in the same place. She's even leading her own group of survivors through the zombie apocalypse. Whoop, wait a minute, found the Freeman.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Only they are going in the right direction, while Shaun doesn't really know what he's doing. In a traditional zombie movie, you would have probably followed Jessica's group, but it's a comedy, so let's follow the lovable nincompoop. If this film is truly about anything, it is about growing up, putting childish things aside, and learning to make sacrifices for the person that you love. Oh, and it's also about zombies. Fuck yeah! 10 points on the badassitude meter! Grab yourself a cricket bat, aim for the head, and give it a watch.
Yeah, boy!
Now it's time to unwrap a blue Cornetto, cause high octane action is our next flavor. Hot Fuzz. In the second installment, Simon Pegg plays Nicholas Angel, the most badass police officer ever. He can shoot, he can fight, he can drive, and he knows how to take a shortcut through the gardens.
What's the matter, Danny? You never taken a shortcut before?
Unfortunately, he's too good, and he is making the rest of the force look bad. So his superiors decide to transfer him. Whoa! Found the Freeman!
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So his superiors transfer him to a quaint little village in the country called Sanford, where all appears quiet and peaceful. But looks can be deceiving, as there is an axe-wielding murderer on the loose, who's really good at making his attacks look like accidents, and only Nicholas seems to know what's really going on. So along with his new partner Danny Butterman, he must mount up, reload, and bring some much-needed hard justice to the village of Sanford.
You're off the fucking chain!
To this day, this remains the funniest movie I have ever seen. It helped me get through some difficult times when I had very little reason to laugh. And even though I've seen it over 50 times, every time that I see it, I always catch a new joke that I never noticed before.
You mothers.
This is also one of the best edited films I have ever seen. It takes the average film about 30 minutes to fully establish the plot and characters before the story can truly begin. This is what is commonly known as the first act. Hot Fuzz establishes everything you need to know about the movie flawlessly, seamlessly, and effectively in just under 15 minutes. Before this film, I didn't think that that was possible. Oh, and this movie has one of the most satisfying climaxes I have ever seen. In fact, the only film that I feel has a more satisfying climax than Hot Fuzz is The Avengers. Yes, it takes 6 of the greatest superheroes ever created joining forces and engaging an army of interdimensional monsters in a battle that wrecks half the city to top Hot Fuzz.
With the power of Grayskull.
Throughout the movie, Nicholas is jerked around, second-guessed, and disproved at every turn. So for him to finally prove his suspicions and get payback in one of the most action-packed and bombastic sequences in movie history is supremely satisfying.
Well, I won't argue that it was a no-holds-barred, adrenaline-fueled thrill ride, but there's no way you could perpetrate that amount of carnage and mayhem and not incur a considerable amount of paperwork.
This movie has the ballsiest foreshadowing out of the 3 Cornetto movies, as you are told repeatedly who the killer is, who the next victim is going to be, and the motives behind each murder, and you still won't see it coming. This one also has the most impressive supporting cast out of the 3. Jim Broadbent, Paul Friedman, a few anonymous cameos by Cate Blanchett and Peter Jackson. Oh, and you have to have Bill Nighy. Nighy, the end is nigh. You'll probably get that joke after you see these 3 movies. But the absolute greatest supporting player in Hot Fuzz is the debonair and dashing Timothy Dalton. Only he can take the most disturbing dialogue and make it sound charming.
Nonsense. I'm sure if we bashed your head in, All sorts of secrets would come tumbling out.
This is the one film of the three that has the most blatant references to other movies, as it openly recreates moments from films by Catherine Bigelow and Michael Bay. But quite frankly, Edgar Wright does Bay better than Bay.
Yeah, motherfucker.
While Shaun of the Dead was about growing up and moving on, this film is about settling down and finding contentment. Nicholas Angel is a workaholic. He can never stop being a police officer, not even during his off time.
Hey! When's your birthday?
8th of May, 1969?
You're 37.
Yeah.
Get out.
Through his experience in Sanford and his relationship with Danny, he learns to lighten up, enjoy life, and that not everything has to involve police work. I love all three films in the Cornetto trilogy, but this one will always be my favorite. 10 points on the badassitude meter. Load your gun, think up a few cool action hero one-liners, and give it a watch.
I'll drive! Shotgun! Punch that shit!
Okay, it's time to enjoy your final frozen dairy treat. For today, we unwrap the green Cornetto, cause sci-fi is our final flavor. As we go on the ultimate pub crawl, the Golden Mile, an epic journey of alcohol, danger, mystery, and adventure that will have memorable stops at the first post, the old familiar, the famous cock, the cross hands, the good companion, the trusty servant, the two-headed dog, the mermaid, the beehive, the king's head, the hole in the wall, and last but not least, the last pint of the night will be imbibed at the world's end. In this final installment, Simon Pegg plays Gary King, a fast-talking, overzealous, douchey man-child who has one aspiration and one aspiration only, to complete the pub crawl that he started when he was a teenager. So Gary King reassembles his old schoolmates, Peter Page, Stephen Prince, Oliver Chamberlain, and Andy Knightley. Yes, Page, Prince, Chamberlain, and Knight. They are his court, and Gary is their king.
The once and future king.
Incidentally, found the Freeman!
Elementary, my dear Watson.
As it turns out, the night that Gary chose to relive his youth also happens to be the night of a mass alien invasion by robotic duplicates who aren't really robots, because the word robot comes from a Czech word which means slave, and these guys aren't slaves, so what do we call them again?
Nothing suggested in the last 3 minutes has been better than Smashy Smashy Eggman.
I don't know, what else you got?
Just need a fucking word so we can identify who's who. He's a blank. She's a blank. Those two people are definitely blanks.
Alright, fine, fuck it, blank it is. Edgar Wright based the look and qualities of the blanks on two famous misleading posters. The first being the Stepford Wives poster, which shows the head of Catherine Ross cracked like an egg, a moment that never actually happens in the movie, but happens in this film in spades. And then there's the poster for John Carpenter's The Thing, where a victim's face is lighting up, revealing him to be the Thing. Another moment that never happens in the movie. Here, it is a great giveaway as to who is a blank. One of the most impressive elements in the film is the fight sequences. There are professional action films that don't have fight sequences this good. Like Drunken Master, the drunker these guys get, the better fighters they are. The most impressive one of them all is Nick Frost. He moves with so much speed and agility, it's like he's weightless. And I love how he incorporates wrestling moves into his fighting. Major props to Bradley James Allen, who was the fight choreographer. I would like to take this moment to compliment Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's amazing acting skills, and their perfect chemistry. They are truly one of the greatest comedy teams of our time.
It's high time you realise that. You and your monkey. Did he mean me or that?
Unlike other so-called comedic actors who get by every movie playing the exact same goddamn character in a different shirt, Pegg and Frost do something fairly modern in all three of these films, called acting! They play different distinct characters in all three films. There is no confusing Sean Riley for Nicholas Angel, or Gary King for that matter. The three are completely different. Sean is a well-meaning screw-up, Nicholas is a consummate professional, and Gary is a total cock.
And he is a bit of a cock. But he's my cock. Oh, thanks, man.
In short, these guys are awesome.
Yeah, Roy.
This was a great finale to a great series of films. The idea of 5 average guys going on a pub crawl that ends up being an epic quest filled with villains, sirens, and mythical monsters is just hilarious.
They knew enough to tempt us, though. They knew these three would fall for a bunch of girls in school uniform. Hey, who wouldn't, am I right?
Fuck yeah.
In truth, the film is about going through your midlife crisis and how futile it is to try and recreate your youth, something Gary refuses to let go of. I think everybody knows someone like Gary. You know, that one friend or family member who has a Peter Pan complex and refuses to grow up and take responsibility. Gary is just a stubborn douchebag who you cannot argue with.
Jesus, I do something right for a change and you fuckers get on my case.
Wow, that is the first time I've ever heard you admit being wrong. I said I did something right. Yeah, for a change. So? Meaning the rest of the time you're wrong? Not necessarily.
But quite frankly, he is my favorite character in the whole trilogy. Cause you never know what ridiculously misguided twaddle will come out of his mouth next.
King Arthur does.
Oh, this will be good.
What's King Arthur got to do with it? Do you honestly think that King Arthur came back from the Battle of Hastings, fucking rocked up at Arthur's castle,
Camelot.
walked up to the bar and went, "Hello, can I have a tap water?"
No, because they didn't have running water in Arthurian times.
Exactly. He would have had a mead, the King Arthur of beers.
Where does he come up with this shit?
Have you noticed anything creepy about the twins, apart from the fact that they're twins?
Just because they're twins doesn't automatically make them creepy.
It does a little bit.
You had sex with them.
A, I did not. And B, how did you know about that?
A, it's a small town. B, I'm not stupid. And C, they told me.
Right, well, I did once, but I was wasted, which was creepy because it was like there was 4 of them. I'm not proud of it. I am a bit.
All in all, this was an epic end to an epic trilogy. 10 points on the badassitude meter. Now drink up and let's boo-boo. Final verdict. People always ask me why I don't review comedies that often. The reason for that is that I am a comedy snob. There are very few films or shows that I find funny. In fact, funny is not an adjective that I use lightly. So when I say that Mel Brooks, George Carlin, Weird Al, or Doug or Allison are funny, I am choosing my words carefully because very few things make me laugh. So when I say that these 3 films are 3 of the funniest movies I have ever seen, know that that is a very short and exclusive list. As far as I'm concerned, Edgar Wright is the very best comedy director out there right now. And these are 3 prime examples of his magnificent talent. So, what is the true binding theme in these 3 films? You know, other than the blood and ice cream, to me, it's regular people taking a stand against large, overwhelming forces, all in the pursuit of moving on to the next stage of their lives. So if you like action, adventure, witty dialogue, great characters, and laughter, unwrap your favorite flavor and partake in the bodacious variety of the Cornetto Trilogy. So grab a blunt instrument, pull up a stool, and lock and load, cause Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Feel free to step in any time.
Did it all right?
I didn't want to cramp your style.
Join the Legion, suckers!
See? What did I say? The Winchester's just over there.
Over where?
Over there.
Just over there, over the 20 garden fences.
What's the matter, David? Remember taking a shortcut before?